Okay, super excited to have a chance to meet you, sir. This is Rear Admiral John A. Okon, Commander of Naval Meteorology and Oceanography Command at Stennis Space Center in Mississippi, talking to us via Zoom from the Naval Command Center there. Of course, our own Rich Marriott going to join us as well. He's excited about your background. It's extensive. We'll get into that in just a minute. First, Admiral, I'm curious, Fleet Week virtually. Don't think that's ever been done before. How's this going to work?
Your Navy is agile and adaptive. And while we'd love to be there in person, flooding the streets of Seattle with sailors and Coast Guardsmen, but the first time in 70-year history of Fleet Week, we're going to bring it to you remotely via webinars, FaceTime Live, online events. We're going to show you what your Navy sailors are doing, the jobs and opportunities that the Navy has to offer. And we also want to say thanks to Seattle and the surrounding area for being great supporters of your global Navy.
What is your role going to be, sir, during Fleet Week? How are folks here in the Northwest going to be able to see you and hear what you have to say?
So I've got a couple events, and I appreciate kicking it off this week. But last Friday, I had an opportunity to do a webinar with AUVSI and talk about naval oceanography as a leader in unmanned systems, really getting into the technology and academia industry up there, or the events up there in the Pac Northwest, and try to leverage the great work that's going on up there and bring that into my community. Later this week, I'm also going to talk to the University of Washington, Dr. Cliff Mass and some team there, talk about what we're doing. They're doing some great work that are very much aligned to the thinking in naval oceanography, and try to leverage them. And I'm also going to try to get into the school and do a little recruiting. They got a great oceanography program up there, and we're always looking for great scientists to bring into uniform.
Here in the Northwest, we have a very rich tradition in the Navy. A huge support up here for Fleet Week within the Navy community, wouldn't you say?
It's really, really important to your Navy from a strategic perspective. The Puget Sound is a strategic port for the U.S. Navy, and having such great support, whether it's over in Keyport, Seattle, Bremerton, really, really important to have the community support so that we can base our sailors there to do the things that we need to do forward.
Rich, I know you had a few questions.
I want to talk just a little bit about your naval career, because I was really impressed looking at your biography and your numerous experiences the different fields you've worked in, while you've been with the Navy. First of all, you're a meteorologist and oceanographer by training. You got your bachelor's and your master's in those two subjects, and then you also had, I believe, a master's in national security studies to give you a broad breadth. And over the course of your career, I mean, you worked as a surface warfare officer, as an oceanographer, as a navigator, information warfare, naval intelligence. It's an amazing span of things. It must be really exciting for you to touch all these different fields and integrate them out, and also use them in the defense of our country.
Yeah, it's been a great 29 years. The Navy has given me so many opportunities, and that's what I would encourage the kids out there that are thinking about joining the Navy. It really is a blank canvas for you to go in and do the things you want to do, whether you want to drive ships, fly planes, or be a scientist and an operator like myself. In my community, and I'm standing here in South Mississippi in the Navy's Physical Battle Space Awareness Command Center, where we command and control about 2,500 people that analyze, predict, and then shape decisions of the environment for our Navy and Joint Forces. And so you think about the opportunities you have: oceanography, hydrography, meteorology, precise time, astrometry. The Navy and naval oceanography run our nation's precise time and clocks. And so it's been great. It's been a great ride, really interesting. And what makes it the best are the people. It really is a really strong team of strong character and great competence.
It seems really, really exciting too. And I do go to the U.S. Naval Observatory all the time for information, astronomical information. It's a great source. I want to just ask you specifically. So you are now stationed at the Stennis Space Center, a NASA facility there, where we were talking about this before the interview, where they're testing the new booster, the space launch system that's going to send men to the moon, and eventually to Mars. And you're not actually working on it; you're hearing it, you said. But I was wondering, what exactly are you working on there at the Space Center?
So NASA is the nation's premier rocket test facility. Everybody that's gone on space shuttles come through this site. And John C. Stennis, Senator Stennis of Mississippi, moved naval oceanography here in the mid '70s, co-located with NASA and a few other tenants. But yes, I get a front row view out my window of the 4 or 5 test stands that sit behind me. And it's really interesting because you don't necessarily get to hear or get a preview of the rocket launches. The first time I know they're actually testing them is when my window starts shaking. But they're doing great work. NASA's got world-class scientists and technicians here. And I talked to Dr. Gilbrick this morning on my weekly sync with them, and they're in the first stages of starting to fuel that rocket.
I was going to ask you if you were going to choose out one experience that you've had over your 29 years so far, and more to come apparently. What do you think stands out most?
Well, that's a great question, and I'm going to go back about 10 years when I was able to enlist my niece in the Navy, and so AT1 Jessica Stevens, if you're listening up in Whidbey Island, your uncle's very proud of you. I brought her into the Navy just over 10 years ago, and I've had the opportunity to re-enlist her 3 times through that span. So for me, it's probably about the family. The Navy is a big family, but for me, I have a rich history of the sea service. 2 of my brothers were in the Navy. A brother was in the Coast Guard, and I have 4 nieces and nephews currently serving in uniform with me.
If people want to get involved with Fleet Week, where do they go and what do we watch for?
So the best place they should go is our website. It's let me get it for you. It is outreach.navy.mil/virtual-outreach. And so every day we're going to post what we call the plan of the day. So in the Navy, what we do every day, we put on the plan of the day. And so our team's going to put that out there, and folks can log on and see what they can do interactively, whether it's through ship tours on the USS Washington, USS Whidbey Island, USS Constitution, or for closer to me, I'm going to have a couple events in the community. We're going to do some live science fairs, some online science experiments for kids. We're going to do an unmanned systems tour to show the Pacific Northwest and Seattle, all the unmanned systems that we run from the bottom of the ocean to the surface. And so if they go there every day, starting today, they're going to be able to see the events that they're going to be able to engage with throughout the day and throughout the week.
All right, Admiral John A. Okon, thank you so much for taking the time, sir. It was really nice to meet you.
Great, guys. Appreciate it. Go Navy, beat Army. Thank you.
Take care.